overwhelming couple of days. I've learned a ton. I've never hosted an event like this. I've spoken at a lot of events. I've learned a few things so that next time it can be even better. This has been a reinforcement for me that we're on the right track and we're doing the right things. And it's been really fun to get to know you guys. Now I get to go into my favorite topic today, which is marketing. And I've already done the big idea. So this is a talk. This is out of a talk that I've done. Scott, can you lower the lights? You know how to do that? There's a slide bar on the right. Yep, that's it. Yep, perfect. This is a talk that I've given to lots of designers, lots of home stagers, and but I've tweaked it for us. So I like to start with Marketing 101, and I would have done this on the first day. However, Tyler only had one day with us. So I would have, if I could have rearranged the order of some of the talks, we would have done that. So, but basically now I get to be the catch-all. So whatever I feel that wasn't talked about enough with Tyler or yesterday with some things, I get to kind of play cleanup, I guess. So not so bad. But what I have found, I guess let me actually stick to the presentation. What is what we're going to cover today in this is what is marketing and how to create a marketing funnel. In that, we're going to cover Facebook and some of these other things that I know you guys are interested because I know people have been asking me about them. So what is marketing? Marketing, I have a marketing degree from the University of South Carolina. Go Gamecocks. I almost wore my Gamecocks. I have a shirt just like this, but it's instead of my logo, it's Gamecocks. And I always struggle, should I wear my colors or those colors? But I came out with an understanding of all these like high-level corporate marketing strategies, sales channels, channels of distribution, and I came out almost as confused as a lot of other people. So I didn't really know how to translate that into small business. So even though I've had a passion for marketing and I have a marketing degree, I feel like I have learned everything by doing. You guys hear me talk about massive action all the time, throwing shit against the wall, seeing what sticks, analyze it, do what sticks, do more of that, and that's really how I've learned. And a lot of times when I go through this presentation, people want to challenge me on certain things, and I go, you know what? You may have different results. These are the results I have had, and that's all I can talk to. But marketing is anything that you do that communicates your value proposition. A lot of people want to substitute marketing for advertising, and advertising and sales and social media, they're all subcomponents of marketing. So I look at marketing very broadly. So that includes for me my phones and a lot of other things. But we're going to talk about, there's two areas of marketing in particular. We will spend more time on one versus the other. But we have active and we have passive marketing. And you guys do both of these, whether you know it or not. And the first one is passive. So anything your customers experience every time they come in contact with you. So phones, I have always looked at our phones as a big marketing push. How your phones are answered. I will do this on the podcast at some point. But on my first podcast, Small Business Naked, my co-host Johnny and I had a lot of fun one day calling our competitors on the podcast and seeing who answered and how did they answer. And the reality was the majority of people didn't answer. And in today's day, like people, I know people don't really want to talk on the phone, but they really don't want to call. If they do pick up the phone, they want to call and talk to somebody. They will not leave a voicemail. They just won't. And so, you need help? Yeah. You do?
I'll make a quick point on that. We just signed up for a...
Is there supposed to be another form that pops up when you do somebody else? That's for the next person.
All data from Usually Central. It does what we see all the miles that come in. year, and we did not have a call center as of like a month ago. Last year in April and May, we missed 350 phone calls that didn't take a voicemail.
That's a lot.
And we have full-time office staff, so that's
Yep.
after hours. And
Yep. Yeah.
that to me was like, just imagine. I was like, I'll pay whatever.
Mind blown, right? Yeah, so because of that, we have 24 hours, 7 days a week answer at our office. Is it perfect all the time? No, but we're doing it a lot better than if we didn't have that system at all. I sat down with an electrician once and I analyzed the value of answering the phones versus not. And he was a small guy, just him. And he told me how many phone calls he was getting a week. And we looked at his average job size. And so for a basic small company, he was, by not answering his phone, he was missing out on like $300,000 a year in sales. And that was a conservative estimate. So if you're spending time, if you're spending energy on making the phone ring, Google, Facebook, networking, whatever you do, and even if it's just, hey, we wait for our customers to refer us, like whatever. Like if that phone doesn't get answered, that's what you're missing out on. So phones are a big part of that. But shirts, we use shirts. I know a lot of you guys use shirts. It's your vehicles is more of a passive. We talk about. I think I come back around to this. Hold on. The other side of it is active, and that's anything that you do to make the phone ring. So that is the Google, that is Facebook, that is going to network, that is sending out an email blast, that is using Home Advisor, that is all of those things, activity and money that we are doing in hopes that our phone is going to ring. So where do I start? And you guys know by now that I'm big picture, and we always want to start with the end in mind. And in order to do that, we need to know how big of a funnel do we need. Am I a $500,000 company? Am I a $5 million company? That determines what your funnel needs to be. So a lot of people talk to me about like, what should my budget be? What percentage? And that depends, right? So we're going to look at our funnel. And in order to do that, we need to know some numbers. So you may want to write some stuff down. But how much in sales did you do last year? How many projects did you do? What is your closing ratio on average? How much do you want to do in 2018 or over the next 12 months? So we're going to do an example. So let's say in 2017 you did $350,000 and your goal. Ooh, that's horrible. No, I'll just say the numbers. Sorry. That's it looks much better on my screen. So the top one is 350. So if you did $350,000 and the goal for 2018 is 500,000, and you did 100 projects in 2017, and your closing ratio is 1 out of 3 or 33%. I guess the red kind of backfired on me. So this is the example. Anybody need me to repeat any of those numbers? Yes. So our goal, what we did in 2017 was 350,000. Our goal for 2018 is 500,000. You did 100 projects in 2017, and our closing ratio is 1 out of 3 or 33%. So that means our average project size is $3,500. That's the 350,000 divided by we did 100 projects. That means we need, in 2018, we need 143 projects. 500,000 is what our goal is. Divide that by 3,500, which is our average job size. You need 429 sales opportunities if you have a 1 out of 3 close ratio. Have I lost anybody? Everybody with me? So you can just plug in your numbers to figure out how big of a funnel you have or you want to have for next year. Now, obviously, if we outperform those numbers, if our average job size goes up or our closing ratio goes up or down, those numbers change. And that's why I'm in those numbers. I track those numbers like a dog, and I'm in those numbers every week, every month, every quarter, and I'm revisiting where we need to be to stay on track. How do we get 8 1/4 leads per week? Every week, right? So for us in our organization, we get about 150 leads a month. That's what we're doing right now. So that, if we tracked it on a graph, we've been going up and up and up. That is due to the fact that we ABM. We always be marketing.
So I guess that, I don't know, I guess that kind of gives me a conclusion that I'm marketing too much because I get a massive amount of leads.
Uh-huh.
And, but a lot of them are just kind of weeding through the ones we want, we don't want. But probably spending more money to get more leads than I need.
Okay, yep. That's what we want to do. We want to dial back and we want to be very efficient. That's what we're doing this year. We look at and again, Jared, looking at those numbers and really knowing where you're at always is going to be super helpful. And that's going to mean you're going to make more money because you'll spend less money. So we've dialed back. So last year we were spending $4,000 or $5,000 a month on Facebook. Now I'm spending $1,800 to $2,000, getting the same or even better results still. And so our ROI is going through the roof. But we constantly have the conversation in the office, me and Tyler, hey, who's low on leads? Who needs leads? So I don't want to, if one of my guys is packed out, for almost 2 weeks on estimates, I don't want to send those leads to him. So I'm going to market in a different area of town where one of my other guys might only have half of his next week booked out. Does that make sense? Yep.
Is it really that controlled?
Yes. On these things that we do, we can turn off Google ads. We can turn off Facebook ads. Like I do, and we do.
And it literally stops or slows down?
It slows down, yeah.
I can make a phone ring from a neighborhood. That's what Nick's saying, basically. Is you can
Yep.
look at where the and you can make the phone ring from there. I tested that out this last summer and it was easy.
Yeah. So what do most paint contractors do? We're in the other groups, guys. We know. What do we hear people saying? People do websites. A lot of guys want to tout that, oh, we're just word of mouth, right? I just laugh whenever I hear guys say that. They do social media, kind of, and then there's guys just do nothing, right? And then those are the guys that are complaining in January and February because they don't have any money. Or they don't have any work, which equates to no money. But you've got to be thinking it in advance. Like you can't wait till you're dead in the water because there's a lag, right? It's like getting the ship to move. You just don't go like this and it takes off like a Mastercraft. Just saying. That Nautique takes a while to get up out of the water. So what should you be doing? And this is what we're going to talk about. So websites with helpful content. And I know that Tyler covered some of this, but I'm going to cover some of it from my perspective. Encouraging word of mouth. Google Ads, which Tyler covered. I am not going to cover this morning because he did a fantastic job. And social media, but doing social media in a smart way. Like I hear a lot of people say that social media is a big time suck. And you guys know how much business I get out of Facebook. Honestly, I spend an hour, maybe 2 hours a week on Facebook ads to get the returns that I'm getting. So it is not a lot of time. All right.
Probably enjoy it too.
I do. Yeah, it's fun. So websites. What pops up when people look at you? How's that? So Dash of Color Painting is and I wish I would have made this bigger. I thought when you blew something up, it would be just super easy to read. So Dash of Color Painting was just a painting company. So I did a search for that, and this is what came up, and it wasn't necessarily their website. remember exactly where I was going with that. But I do have some examples. So I did Walls by Design, and we came up, we populated up first. So there's a difference between what pops up when you look for an interior painting company and what pops up when people are just looking for your website. So when somebody puts in your website, how easy is it for them to find it? Should be super easy, okay? So Walls by Design. So yes, we come up number 1 for Walls by Design. I did it on Bing just because I was working on that. I did a search for Carolina Painting. Who is that? That's what came up. Is that you? So I did this not to pick on you, but I did it to show that if your customers are looking for Carolina Painting, I know there's more to your name. What's the full length?
Carolina Painting, Commercial Painting.
So how many people are going to put in the whole thing versus just try to look at, the short? So we just have to think of these, like when we're naming our companies or, are we making it easy for people to find us? Tiger Lily Designs. I did? Well, did your customers spell it right? But you actually did come up, like your Facebook page came up first. I don't think that's you, or is it? But your Facebook page did come up. Is it McCo? Am I saying that right? McHugh? That one came up. Okay, so several years ago, this was before I knew Jeff, I was on this search of trying to figure out the internet because I knew that was the way marketing was trending. I didn't quite have a full grasp of how to get business off of the internet. I remember when we first built a website and I had these web designer guys come to me and saying, oh, I can optimize that. People will find you. I remember thinking, honestly, no, I just need a digital brochure. I'm going to have customers. I want a place to send people so they can learn more about me. I don't need people to find me on the internet. Like, how stupid is that, right? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Once you build it, it is there. It is your salesperson all the time. So I started looking to find out who's doing, some good things, and I found this guy, Chris Huntley. Chris, at the time of doing this, he was getting 3,000 leads a month for his insurance company. Okay, but before that, he was a struggling insurance salesman, young guy trying to figure out starting his business. Wasn't, he'd been in it for a couple years, and he finally decided, hey, I don't know anything about the internet, but I think I should probably learn. And so he just dove in and learned it. And now, today, he only works about 30% of the time. It's where I kind of got my goal of only working in my business 30% of the time. But he has a tool. He has a website. It is specifically built out for insurance guys. But you can go to elifetools.com, and he has a lot of training on internet stuff. And so his business has totally transformed. He has business all over the country that comes in. He does some specialized, insurance plans, but he's done a fantastic job. It's where I kind of learned the word backlinks and some of these other things. elifetools.com. So what we want to do is we want to create good, helpful content. What that does is it helps people understand you. It helps them understand what you do, what you don't do. It should be stupid simple. Like, people go to your website and they know that you're a painter. They should know where you are. They should know how to contact you. You should be using video to build trust. I don't know if I've shared this story or not with you guys, but we had a customer a couple summers ago call the office and say, hey, I'd like to get an appointment. Oh, and by the way, how far out are you guys? Gal said, we're about 5-6 weeks out. Okay. You know what? I'm going to call you back. Okay. Calls back in like 2 weeks. Hey, I called and talked to you a couple weeks ago. I'd like to get an appointment. How far are you guys out now? We're like 9 weeks out. She's like, oh, crap. Can I give you $500 to hold a spot on your calendar and let's just do an appointment in the meantime? My office manager's like, I think so. Let me call the owner and see if that's okay. So she calls me and I'm like, yes, that's fine. We can do that. $500. Yeah, just let her know that's non-refundable. Okay. So she does. And now I'm really curious. Never had this happen to me before in my life. So I go out. She's super nice. I'm sitting in her kitchen with her. And I'm like, Mary, you and I have never met. You were not referred to me by a friend. Why did you feel comfortable giving my office $500 to hold a spot on our calendar? She says, Nick, I watched every single video you have on your website. I just knew you, and I knew I could trust you. And I was like, that's awesome. So that's the power of video. That's why I keep pushing you guys to do Facebook Lives, to do the practice in the group, to work with Jared. How many people have done the video with Jared so far? Okay, we're going to try and end early enough so everybody that wants to make a video can make a video. Super powerful, guys. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. A video is worth 10 million words. Update this site early and often. That's because I'm from Chicago. That's the political vote early and often. I don't know, anyways. But yeah, Tyler updates our content in some form or fashion almost every day on our website. So you have blog posts, you have pages, but the more you are in there making changes, changing out photos, adding text, changing text, all that stuff, that helps in your Google ranks. Google likes that. They like to see activity on your website. So you're not always having to be creating amazing, awesome content. I want you to do that too, but you don't have to be, moving mountains every day. Like just little things help. Backlinks create, sorry, I'm having a hard time reading. Backlinks to credible websites. So I think Tyler talked about having backlinks. Backlinks, just to define what a backlink is. So that is if HomeAdvisor has a link to my website, that is a backlink for me. Okay? So they have something that says wallsbydesign.com, the full thing. So someone can click that and it brings them to my website. That link has more credibility because they have a big site with lots of credibility than, let's say, my local paint store. Does that make sense? So the better your backlinks to your website, it raises your credibility in Google's eyes. It's a popularity contest. It's no different than high school, right? Yes?
So how do you get them to put your link on their website?
Okay.
You can't call it.
Right. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Ways to create backlinks. Actually, let me see.
Backlinks to be effective, do they have to be directly to the domain, or does just as long as they, say on that one page you do a link to a specific page on yours?
It's better if it's a specific page that talks about if it's relevant to how they're using it. Okay. So, example. I don't know if this is probably going to come back up, but I'll answer your question. I don't want to dodge it. So, HomeAdvisor and PDCA, yeah, those are all good backlinks. But I have written articles on four other websites, HomeAdvisor, mHelpDesk, a number of different places. And at the end of the article, it has a bio for Nick May. He owns Walls by Design. Guess what's in my bio? A link to my website. So that is a really great way to get credible backlinks. Google now likes those better than some of the things that Tyler was talking about and having you in a directory. They're starting to not give that as much credit. Google is all about, SEO is pretty simple. They want good, helpful content. Just create good, helpful content. Gone are the days of just putting keywords in a post and it sounding stupid, right? They want big, long articles. I'm sure most of you have been to my website, but let's go to my website. What does that say? So let's just walk through my website just a little bit. I like big images. That's kind of the trend right now in website development. I believe that you should be redesigning your website at a minimum every 5 years. Because trends change. It's just like fashion, right? So I don't even know how many times we've redesigned and redeveloped our website. But right now, big pictures and kind of long form. So this,
Is that an actual Google map or is it a picture of Google map?
I think this is a picture.
Okay.
I think you can do it the other way too.
I just wondered if it was
Yeah.
an actual Google map that would give you,
Right.
that would help with SEO,
Yep.
having all those homes
Yep.
plotted out.
So one of the elements of a website, guys, that is super helpful is social proof. This is social proof. This lets my customers or potential customers know how many jobs we're doing and that we're doing jobs in their area. Oh, these guys are pretty active. You can do that in a lot of different ways. Having testimonials. So we have testimonials right here. You can have a link to Google reviews. So this, best in Colorado, social proof. I really like when I don't have to search around for a phone number. So make it big. Make buttons. Make the actions that you want them to do really large. I like a really nice about. I like to see, and I think customers like it too, give personality. So one of the things we've done is we put our artists on our website. So a little backstory, where I come from, what I like to do. Actually need to probably update that and put a family picture on there. So what would be weird if I clicked on that and there wasn't a picture of a cabinet, right? So make sure things make sense. If you do sliders, make sure that they move slowly. They hang out for a little while. Give the person an opportunity to see them. So we go into pretty good detail of how we do cabinets. This page is really good for SEO, by the way.
Oh, I just wanted to point out something about the sliders. If you guys are using that, make sure your images are optimized and compressed. If you get those huge image files, that hurts your SEO, the bulk.
I'm going to show you a couple of things. I want to go over to our blog real quick. I want to just show you how long the article is. So it's more than like 3 paragraphs. I like to put pictures in.
They say like 1,500 word minimum, I think.
Yeah, I would shoot for doing at least 1,500 now. People used to kind of stick around 500. But again, that long format is what Google really likes right now. Having links. Another long article. I'm going to show you guys the video page I did. Again, video doesn't have to be expensive. I shared with you guys that camera sitting in my living room, and I went through a list of FAQs, and I created a video page. And this is the reason why that lady was willing to, give me $500 to hold the spot. Sorry?
Who writes your blogs?
Up till now, they've all been me. We've just hired a content creator, so we literally have a writer because now I'm a little bit different because we have so many websites to create content for. I have no idea why this is taking so long to load.
For a blog, the guy who writes them for us, what do you think a cost would be to have somebody writing each blog? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's different people you could ask. I don't. We get some content for free. On the. So we have to yell at Tyler. I don't know why this is not loading. Honestly. I'm sorry? Yeah, we get requests for guest blogs, and I've started to say no to people because we want our own content. We want our own voice to come through. Yeah. All right, so I got to talk to Tyler why this doesn't load. Yeah, it's just not loading on mine. I don't know. It's probably just my computer. I don't know. But anyways, when you have a chance, go through my site and watch those videos. I couldn't show you video anyways because we don't have sound on the system. But I like to create videos very similar to the content I create on the podcast. Personality needs to come through, crack a joke. When I was creating the list of FAQs, I asked friends, because we look at it from a certain perspective, right? We look at it from a business owner's perspective. What do we think that the customers want to know? Ask some people, some friends of yours that own houses. If you didn't know me, what do you wonder about? What are some questions? And have some silly ones or have some harder questions. And, people want to know, well, why is painting so expensive? And, there's all sorts of different types of FAQs that you can do.
I also talk to my painters in the field about the common questions and issues that they have with customers. And just kind of make sure that I was picking their brain, make sure that issues that they deal with can be addressed in the FAQ.
Yeah.
Actually help out quite a bit.
This is me being ignorant on this whole topic, but do people actually read the blog other than when they're going to your website? I mean, do people come back on a monthly basis and say, hey, what's Nick thinking about today?
Following us, every time we have a blog post? Probably not.
I do.
Yeah, they help SEO. They help people find you when somebody is interested, so they find us. They do a Google search. Tyler has caught them with his fishing, not bad fishing, but when he's throwing out the net with the Google ads, they come to our website. Then you want them to find content there. They're interested in cabinet painting. They have questions. They find a blog post about.
Very inbound.
Yeah.
We do get customers that call in and say, you know, I read everything on your webpage. I read all your FAQs. I mean, like, we do hear from customers that they are, and I can see from the analytics, what pages to look at, and so I'm looking at everything.
Other thing I would do too is like a keyword. So for instance, if Nick writes a blog on Denver cabinet painting, and then someone Googles cabinets Denver, maybe his website walls by design comes up first, and then you'll tag that word too in the back end. So not only do the blogs help with SEO, they also help generate traffic to your website. So I mean, maybe someone Googles a certain thing, and you come, like I wrote a metal blog years ago, so we got all this stuff in Seattle. People type in Seattle metal painting, and we come up number one, you know, for like DTM stuff, just because of that blog.
Yep.
It's really key. Maybe even if people aren't reading on the website, just to drive people to the website. Shows you.
Yep.
We do a ton of blogging, and it definitely does drive traffic. It also is great for sales tools. So a lot of times, like when I have an estimator or myself, we get a specific question, when we send the quote, we will link back to, you might want to check this blog out where you can get a lot more information, you know, whatever it might have done there. So it's just really helpful to have all that content ready to go, so you don't have to write it on the fly every time.
And I've done that with paint sheets. We have a blog, you go all the time paint sheets, rather than typing it out, they just link up to our blog, or like, you know, you look at your cabinet blog, the cabinet FAQ, you know.
Yep.
Maybe if someone says they what to expect, and that paint sheet may save me like 100 times, drop it in.
Yep. Yep.
We have a master like Google Doc, and if we get a question 3 times, I try to just write a blog because I'm sick of asking the same question multiple times. It's just so much faster than having to type out an answer.
Yeah. And the other thing you can do if you do a post and then somebody asks you the question, like they send you an email, you could answer it by saying, hey, here's a video I did. Like, it answers this exact question. So as you get questions, kind of combining it with your idea of, hey, let's throw a video in the email and throw it back to the customer. Well, now you've done a video. Capture that content, put it on the blog. Like, I'm always trying to figure out how do I use content in multiple ways. You know, right now, I'm delivering content to you guys. We're also recording this, right? We will be able to use this in multiple ways. We'll use short snippets for marketing, so the next time we do Crank, but we'll also have it in the private Facebook group for you guys to consume again. So you always have to be thinking through that. My philosophy on websites right now is that we are in the future, if in my crystal ball, who knows if I'm right or not, but I'm guessing that SEO is, it's going to be harder and harder to get a lot of traction there and really win with SEO because Google doesn't necessarily make any money there. And so if you go and do a search for most things, you will notice that the paid ad section is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so while we still have to have content on our website once they get there, I'm investing more money on the Google side than I am on the SEO side. I think you still need to do it, but I think you kind of do that just little by little. I know a lot of guys will go heavy and spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on optimization, but it's a long-term game plan. And most guys in our industry, they're like, hey, I need leads like now. And so you just have to understand how all that works. So we do both. I spend a lot more time and energy on a regular basis, doing our Google stuff and trying to get Google Ads really dialed in, but we're constantly adding all that other content, but on a in slower ways. Does that make sense? Lindsay, would you agree with that, or would you disagree with that philosophy?
No, not at all. I mean, it took us a while, and part of that was just figuring it out, but I don't think that's a good starting place.
Yeah.
If I'm going to get views on SEO as a new business. I
Takes 6
agree.
years.
Yeah.
It's still.
I think we need to play the long game with that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The other thing to factor in is Google's constantly changing what you're doing.
Right.
So people that paid thousands and thousands of dollars 5 years ago for SEO, that's gone.
Right.
That doesn't-
Under that, yeah.
What was done there does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
As far as the way Google's looking at stuff.
Nicholas, you had a question?
Yeah. Well, first, since we're on the topic of SEO, I the internet as a library and your website is like your book, the more relevant it is and realistic and useful, the more likely you are to get at the top of Google, I guess. Anyway, that's just some theory. With videos on the website, would you recommend something as raw as like a Instagram or a Facebook Live? Or do you think it should be edited and like?
Yeah, I think you've got a kind of different philosophy on content. Website needs to be more curated, more professional. You'll notice I definitely have to be edited. Not because I'm going to cuss or do any of that, but my grammar's horrible, my spelling's bad. Like I've got thankfully I have Becca, and now I have a content writer, Grant, who can really make us sound and look good on the website. I think there's a lot, same thing goes with video. So I think there needs to be a level of professionalism. That's why I believe heavily and hired somebody that has audio video skills. So that's where it's different. If you look at my videos that I have on my website, if you look at my pictures that I have on my website, if you look at the content we have on my website, it's all just a step above, okay? I'm not the guy that's gonna spend $3,000 on a photographer, but I am willing to spend $50 on a photographer to make sure we have the right images on our website, right? Now take that over to Facebook. You see me doing selfies all the time. I'm doing Facebook Lives. It's jumbled, it's all over the place. There's no, video graphics on it. It's very just raw and real, and that translates over to content as well. So whether it's a picture, a video, or a post that I've done, my wife's crazy, because I'll post something and she'll be like, oh, you have like 3 misspelled words in like 2 sentences. And I'm like, all right, well then I'll fix it. But I'm not gonna go through the time and energy to go send that to somebody, have them edit it. I can go back and edit it myself. So that's kind of my philosophy on those kind of things. And so I would definitely say step it up a notch. So we have a lot of photos that our guys take in the field. I'm gonna cover how we do that in a second. But those don't necessarily, unless they get really lucky, those pictures don't necessarily typically get to our website. All of the stuff that we have on our website has been done professionally by somebody that we pay to go frame it up and take a picture.
Hearing a lot of people putting Facebook Pixel on their website.
Yep, we have that.
You have that?
That would be more on a question for Tyler. You could ask him that question. I know that we have that. It's like a cookie. You know what a cookie is? Okay, but they call them pixels for Facebook, and so it'll follow them wherever they go. I don't exactly understand how all that works, but that would be a question for Tyler.
Real quick, it's basically retargeting. So when you go
Right.
on Amazon and you look something up, you go to Facebook, you're like, wow, I see it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So on Facebook, in the Ads Manager, you can pay to show ads. If you send it to your website, you can specify like, if they went to my pricing page, show this, if they page, whatever might be, like really,
Yeah.
same as
They do that with AdWords as well.
Yes. Yep. I don't think I have a slide on it, so I wanted to cover real quick if nobody was familiar with my philosophy on photography. I'm just going to go over it. So photography is important. A long time ago, I hired a photographer we did a show house downtown Denver. It was a faux finish and a bathroom, powder bathroom. And I got the special show house deal, and it was $500, and it was one picture of one bathroom. And that was the guy who takes all the photography for Lux Magazine and Colorado Homes and Lifestyles. And so I thought, that sucks. I'm never doing this again, because that just doesn't make sense to me. And so several years ago, I decided I hated to go out and take pictures because, it's kind of like marketing. You get busy and you just totally forget, right? And I wasn't always fantastic at taking photographs. Even though I'd bought a better camera, I had great intentions, and I was just like, well, it just doesn't happen. So I thought, I wonder if I can I knew the statistics in Colorado were that we have more professional photographers per capita than any state in the country. And so I knew there were a lot of people that weren't making very much money. So I went to Craigslist and I put an ad on Craigslist, and I said, hey, I'm looking for a photographer that can take photographs of homes, interior shots. I want you to go and spend 20 minutes framing up the pictures with good equipment. I don't want you to take a truckload of lighting, and I don't want you to spend any time editing. So those are the two things that take a lot of time, and that's what costs money in photographs. I knew that if I hired somebody that loved photography and was skilled at it, they're going to take a much better picture than I can, right? With my, expensive $300 camera, they're going to probably bring a $1,000 or $2,000 camera, right? And so I put the ad out there and I said, and just tell me what you would charge me to do this, okay? So I'm not demanding how much I'm going to pay. So we got a ton of response, a ton of people that were willing to give me basically a bid on what it would take to go to these houses. I had a range from about $20 all the way up to $500 probably. And so when I got in the range, when I narrowed it down, I really wanted to spend about $50. So I had a bunch of those, and I went to, and I asked for links to, their website so I could see examples. And so the gal that I landed on was a wedding photographer, but she also had pictures of architectural stuff that she had taken, so I knew she knew how to do that. She was really busy on the weekends, but she had nothing going on during the week because she's a wedding photographer. And she said she would do it for $50. And so I went out with her on our very first photo shoot, and it's actually that first picture that you see on my website of the kind of contemporary house. And I kind of showed her what I wanted, and I wanted some big pictures, and I wanted some close-up kind of artsy pictures, and that's what she took. And she framed them up. She spent 20 minutes in the house. I got like 20 or 30 pictures back, and cost me $50. It was awesome. And so that's the model that we use now. I was giving this presentation to a group of home stagers, and a guy comes up afterwards, and he says, hey, I just want to let you know that I'm a photographer, and I really didn't like what you had to say about, your system for getting photographs, and you really can't get good lighting unless you do some of these things. And I said, so all those pictures that I show you, you don't like those? He says, no, the lighting's all bad. I said, so if you talk to all the people that are in this audience, do you think they would see those things? And he's like, yeah, probably not. And I said, that's my point. Most people, you don't need to take it to that level. I'm not going to be in Lux magazine. I'm not going to, that's not, my competition are other paint contractors that are taking selfies and all this kind of stuff, and that's what they're putting on their website. So I need it better than what I can do. I don't need Lux $500 a shot guy, right? And so since then, that photographer, I started to turn on to all my interior design friends in Denver, and they loved that gal. And so slowly she raised her price. She got up to $100. I was like, I've been giving you all of these, you have these people because of me. You're really going to raise my rate? And she said, I just can't afford to do it anymore, Nick. So we fired her, and we found 2 other photographers. So it's not a hard deal. They're out there. And so we have a north and a south photographer, and we typically only shoot probably between 2 and 4 projects a month professionally. So that's our process on taking photographs. Yeah?
I think this is something we need to do a lot more. I'm just wondering how you usually coordinate it with the client, especially if it's
Oh, great question. So what we do is we ask the client permission to have a photographer come back to their house on a day that they've either cleaned the house or it's organized, so there's not shit everywhere. And typically you remember the question I had on my project review that says, is this house photo worthy? That really speaks to, is this a house that is decorated nice and will look nice on photographs? So we already know that they're the type of person that has a well curated house. And so we already know. So then we ask them, can we do this? They say yes. Then we give their name and phone number to the photographer and say, contact them and go take the pictures. So we get out of the way because I don't want to have to coordinate. and they coordinate for us. And so it's been a really easy system for us.
What if the house may be photo worthy, but the people aren't photo worthy? Like just the way they have the house set up, do you somehow articulate that? And somebody might move all the crap off their counters and turn it into something photo worthy?
You already pretty much know that because you've gone and done a bid. You just kind of know what kind of house it is, and I just wouldn't bother. It's just too much of a pain. I got too many houses. I mean, we're doing 40 projects a month. I'm going to find a couple. Yes. Yep. And this is important, guys. This is how we market ourselves. Again, going back to communicating your value proposition, and I'll come back to you, Lindsay. When you have really nice photos, people assume that you're worth more. And you go to 2 different sites, and it's like, let me use this example. You go to demonstrate value proposition. So if I'm shopping for an Audi, I can go to Jim's car lot, and I can probably find a used Audi, and there's like the little hut, right? And I'm going to talk to a guy, and it's it's that kind of experience. But I'm probably going there because I've got a budget in mind. I've got stay. But then I could also go down the road and go to Audi of Denver. And going to where we went to dinner, where you guys are staying, like those they're 2 stories and they're beautiful and it's amazing. They probably have Starbucks quality coffee inside, and they'll it's a full on catered lunch, and like it's crazy, right? But that value proposition is completely different. And so we want to be we want our website to look like the Audi of Denver. Does that make sense? What was your question, Lindsay?
Oh, I was just curious, like, maybe say I have 10 jobs, how many do you end up getting photos of?
Well, like I said, out of 40 jobs a month, we're typically only sending them in on 4.
Okay.
Could we probably push the envelope and do more? Yeah, but we're not adding that many projects. We have a ton of pictures, project pics on our website. And I've always believed in photographing our work so that I can market it. Right? Okay.
I noticed on your website, a lot of pictures you have, they're not all one color. They're creative colors, the blues, the grays, the whites.
We try to show a mix.
Do you find that the designers that you use that go out there and do color consultation intentionally try to do the multicolor stuff? So that way it's a little bit unique? Or is it just you happen to have 1 out of every 50 projects that happen to be more unique, so therefore you're showing those?
Yeah, we're probably showing those ones that are a little bit more unique. The ones that are bland, like I don't necessarily want to showcase that. So we're going to showcase things that are a little bit more fun. I mean, our average customer probably has a pretty bland house.
I just didn't know if you were focusing on intentionally to create your image as multicolor.
Yeah, those are just more, they just grab the attention. So we want to use those in our, that contemporary house that's on my main page. I mean, I painted that house, I don't know how many years ago. And we haven't done another one that has that big of a wow factor since then. So we keep using that one. Word of mouth, it's all about who knows you. We always say it's who you know, but it's who knows you and what can they do for you. So you want to be a resource for everybody that you come in contact. The hardwood floor guy, the interior designer, the real estate agent, your customers. You want them. I literally have customers that will call me and be like, hey, I know you don't do decks, but what do you know about decks? Do you know somebody that does a deck? Like, be a resource. Anytime they're doing something related to your house, you want them to call you. That's why in your blog, you don't have to have all paint-related blogs. Like, have blogs about interior design trends. Talk to some interior designers and say, hey, would you write a blog for us about, if you talk to a designer and they just went to High Point Market, have them write a blog about the trends that they saw on market. Those are great ways to connect with people and be a resource. Build your personal brand. I'm going to go into that a little bit on the next slide. Be known in the right circles. I hear all the time on the chat rooms, guys, and I've heard it a little bit here, that when we're in a house and we're dealing with, they just want to pay $200 a room, or everyone is just price shopping. You first have to be in the right house. You have to target market, be in the right house to begin with. What we do is a luxury, right? Like, our biggest competitor, honestly, is a DIY. But when I'm dealing with, a homeowner that makes over $200,000 a year, and they've got 2 kids, and they have a busy lifestyle, they don't want to do their painting themselves. Versus you're dealing with somebody that's making $90,000 a year, and they don't have the extra money to spend. So they still want to get the house painted, but they just don't have enough wiggle room, guys, right? So if they are going to hire somebody, it's really going to be bare bones. They're not shopping at the Audi of Denver, most likely. So you want to make sure that your target market is the right person. I like the example of when you're fishing, okay? I'm not a fisherman, but I like this example. If I want to go for wide mouth bass, I'm not going to do that in the ocean, right? I'm going to go into a lake. If I want to catch those big fish with is it a swordfish? Things that we see on the wall, right? Sailfish. I can't do that in our small lake in northern Wisconsin. I can't, right? So go where the people are that you want to be selling to. And that includes when you're doing Facebook, that includes your direct mail. That's why I can't remember who was talking about Every Door Direct. It's going to take you to doors they're not even there, right? So when I'm putting stuff out there, I'm paying to go after a person that can't afford me. So that's why I like the rifle approach. Build your personal brand. Key person of influence. There was a book I read several years ago out of Australia, and it's called KPI, or Key Person of Influence. And so people look at what I've done. I'm an interior design podcaster, right? That's where I kind of made my mark originally. And the guy to my right here is Tom Felicia. You guys might not know who he is, but he was on a show several years ago called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. And that was a very popular show, and he has a huge name in the interior design world. And so those are the types of people that I hang out with on a regular basis when I'm doing podcasting, when I'm going to markets. And it elevated my personal brand, and now I have the opportunity to talk and meet with all sorts of people. So I was in New York last week. I was invited by one of my sponsors, Porcelanosa, to go to a charity event. They flew me there. They put me up in a hotel, and I got to go to this event. Well, all the movers and shakers in New York City were at this event. Interior Design Magazine is one of the biggest design magazines, and kind of the who's who is in that magazine. I took selfies with the editor and chief of that, Cindy Allen. I went and I saw people that I know at Benjamin Moore. The current CEO, Mike Searles, and the COO, Dan Calkins, who's a friend of mine. But I know these guys now because of podcasting, and that has opened doors for me in crazy ways that the average painter doesn't have, but I wouldn't have gotten those opportunities had I not done all this other stuff to build my personal brand. So I'm not saying everyone has to be a podcaster, but look for ways that you can build your personal brand with the people that you want to influence.
Does that actually help Walls by Design?
Yes. Absolutely. In probably not as many ways as I thought originally. It's done it in different ways. But I'm known. I remember having a conversation with Jeff, and Jeff's like, "Oh, do you know Faith so-and-so?" And I'm like, "I don't know Faith. Who's Faith?" "She's an interior designer. Oh, she loves your podcast." I'd never been to Seattle, And then we went out there and we had to go have coffee with her, which helps him because, now he looks like the hero because he's connecting her to me, somebody that she likes to listen to and that kind of thing.
Is there a direct relationship to the podcast to actually work for Walmart?
Yes.
I understand
Mm-hmm.
media is
Yep.
You're actually getting work here because of...
AM. Yep, we work with designers here. It's probably been a slower uptick. I don't remember the exact quote, but there's a Bible quote that says, a prophet in his own city, somebody help me out. Anybody know this quote? Is not respected or not loved or something. Did I get it?
Yeah, you got it.
So it's been hard. It's been interesting that people are just now like starting to go, oh my gosh, Nick May's kind of a big deal. You know, the local design center reached out to me 2 weeks ago, and they're like, man, you're everywhere. We want you to come speak for us. I'm like, I've been reaching out to you guys for like 3 years. Like now all of a sudden I'm like, yes, I will come and I won't charge you and all this kind of stuff. But it's been slower than I thought, to be honest. But we do have designers we're working with now. Now the interesting thing is, because I'm in the hospitality world, now I've got designers that I know all over the country that are coming to Denver, and they're doing projects, and then they tell me about them. And they're like, would you like to bid on that project? One of my friends is doing a hotel down in she lives in LA, she has a house in LA and in Vegas, and she's doing a hotel down in Colorado Springs, and she asked me if I wanted to do the painting. I said, it's a little bit too far for me. But those kind of opportunities are coming up more and more. So, other ways to encourage word of mouth. Sending personal notes. Like, who here writes personal notes to customers? So in our process, we write personal notes to every customer that we go out and see. I don't do it. I have a system for it. My office staff does it. Okay? I know that with all my good intentions, I may do 10, and then I'm going to forget, and I'm not going to do it anymore. So I had to build a system so that it happened every week. Host an event. I absolutely love event marketing. Now, this is the biggest event marketing I've ever done, but years ago, I started doing lunch and learns for interior designers in Denver. So how that worked was, I thought, I know I can get more business from interior designers. How do I get in front of more interior designers so they know who I am? Because I would go to events and I'd meet like one or two. So I thought, well, if I ran the event, then obviously everybody's going to know who I am. And so I started researching, and I thought, I'll bring in a speaker. So I found a guy finally that would talk to me about coming and doing an event. And he said, I'll charge you $2,000 to come and do one, and I'll charge you $3,000 to come and do two. I said, well, that's a better value, so let's do two. I said, but wait, let me call you back because I got to figure out how to pay for this. Because I wasn't about to write a check for $3,000. Because I knew there were going to be other costs because we had to do food and stuff. And so I networked with all the people that I knew liked to do business with interior designers. So there was a window and door company, which led to this relationship and why I'm even in this building. There's an appliance showroom called Builder's Appliance Center. They eventually got bought out by Ferguson. You probably know who Ferguson is. There was a tile company. There was a blinds company. There was, so we had about 6 companies. We all came together, and I pitched this idea. Hey, let's put this event on. We'll all pitch in money. And one of the guy from the appliance company says, I'll reach out to one of my vendors. I bet you we can get the food costs covered. And so over the course of a year and a half, we did 5 or 6 different events. Ended up costing me a little less than $500 all in because we kept getting all these other sponsors to sponsor the event. I got to get up every time because I don't mind speaking, obviously, and talking to people. And we'd give away little things like bottles of wine and painters for a day and all this kind of stuff. And we got business out of it. It didn't cost me a whole lot of money. And that was a really great way. And there's other ways that you can do event marketing. I've heard of some people that after they do a big project in a house, they'll have an open house and they'll pay for the wine and cheese, and the homeowner will invite their friends, and you'll get to go and meet those friends. So lots of different ways to do event marketing. Helpful newsletters and emails. So again, this is an area I don't spend a ton of time on it, but you want to have name recognition. I heard a statistic a while ago, and I'll butcher it, so I'm going to give you the Cliff Note version. They asked people that had just used a real estate agent for the very first time, would you use this person again? 80% said yes. Great experience, loved them. Then they interviewed a bunch of people that had purchased their second home. And I said, did they use the same real estate agent? Only like 30% said they'd used the same real estate agent. Well, there's a disconnect there, right? And they said, why? I couldn't remember who we used the first time, right? So those real estate agents didn't do a good enough job getting back in front of those clients. And it's the same way it's the same struggle we have with painting. Like, this isn't something that they need all the time. And they forget who they are, who we are. So if you're not, like, just in little ways, able to get in front of them. So our emails, we don't do a big email blast. I don't do big newsletters. Every time I do a newsletter or an email blast, it's a very short, hey, we have this, would you help us out to try and win Colorado Home Paint Contractor of the Year? Or, hey, we just won Contractor of the Year. Or, hey, free touch-up program is coming up. Don't forget to call the office and have us come out. Little things. I do like to promote other people that are industry partners. A lot of people don't know where to go for hardwood, for carpet, for tile, for backsplashes. So highlight somebody that you know that you already refer work to because they're great, and give that to your customers. They want to hear that. So you're kind of training them that every time you send something, it's either going to be really short and take them 2 seconds to read, or it's just something super helpful. And so you have to train your customers that's what you're going to send. When they see an email come through from you, that's what you're sending them, right? So it's helpful. And it just, oh yeah, that's Walls by Design. Yep. Yep.
Newsletters can be really intimidating for people, thinking like I have to spend a lot of time on this. There's an app or a website program called tidings.com. Once it's like maybe $30 a month, and it makes a beautiful looking newsletter that you can email out. And essentially what it does is it will take you can select how you want it to use, but it's pulling your Facebook posts. So if you're blogging, you're sharing your posts on Facebook, you can pull those out, you can pull some of your beautiful photos out, and things like that. Puts it together. I mean, essentially what you would pay a designer or whatever to do. Looks awesome. It's very quick and easy. I would highly suggest that.
What's it called?
It's called tidings.com.
Have you tried it?
I have, yeah.
Do you know?
We use HubSpot for all of our stuff, and so there's like built-in functionality already for this. So we just need to spend the $30. Essentially, we have
Sure.
templates already.
Yep.
But newsletters are awesome. Just to give a quick example, I highlighted a guy that I know that does hardwood floor refinishing. He got a few jobs from us going out in our newsletter, because we do a lot of work in older homes. And then he sends me a lead. He's like, hey, my dad is a home builder, custom home builder. He's looking for a painter. I just booked that project for $22,000, and we started there. It's just like building these relationships, and it's like
Adding value.
my customers don't want to read about all the houses that we paint out. It kind of gets you put one or two, but
Right.
it's good content. Stuff like that. So
Yeah.
what next thing is.
Can you spell that website?
Tidings, so TIDINGS.com. It was started by David Min. He is one of the 4 leaders in SEO local marketing. And pretty good, really a thought leader in that space.
Nick, one of the other easiest things you can do for word of mouth is busy for paint stores. Get to know the guys at the front counter. Bring them a box of donuts with pizza. I mean, I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars. Well, I could if I did the research. But I can tell you it's thousands, tens of thousands of dollars where the word comes into our shop by going in, getting to know those guys, thanking them for how hard they work for us. Yeah, we're giving them money. We're keeping them in work, but they just appreciate it. Nobody says thank you to the guy at the paint store.
That's great.
And anytime we get a referral, we're right there. And
On that note, the other thing that you can do is know your competition. I shared the story that Vivex, did I share this story? Vivex saved my business back in 08, 09. Technically, they're my competition. They sent me $500,000 over 2 years because they didn't like doing inside work. and we didn't like doing outside work, so it was a really great relationship. They still send us work to this day. If they get calls for cabinet work, they send it to us. When they get busy at the end of the summer and they're trying to finish all their exteriors up and the calls are coming in September, sometimes it happens in August, they're sending those jobs to me. I know a lot of you guys in Seattle and those places where you've got a tight season where you've got to get all those exteriors done while it's not raining. Like, do you have an interior guy that you could send stuff to?
We're looking at doing something like that, especially in our service area that's in
Yeah.
the business brush.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Looking forward to talking about it later.
Yep.
There's a guy that I met at the PDCA Washington chapter in Seattle, and he does only interior painting, so he sends us all his exteriors. In the winter, obviously, we're not going to do our interior leads, but in spring and summer,
Right.
if we can't do it.
Same relationship.
we Send him all the same
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
He's not by
And
that
it's awesome
society.
because truthfully, last summer, people would ask, well, who do you know that's not booked? And I'm just,
Right.
no idea. I just figure everybody is.
Right.
So, yeah, it's awesome to have that.
Yeah.
You guys pay commission or?
You can do a referral system. Yeah. Yeah. 5%. You can.
I mean, I run it the old school way, like, I have a dryer always give me probably 60 jobs in 4 years.
Yeah. I usually do if they ask for it. Do you guys do a referral? I'll say, yeah, 5%.
We have done it a few times.
Yep.
Too, it's important to like stay top of mind with customers, but also stay top of mind with referral partners. So I would want them to know, take them to lunch every once in a while, just to like
Yeah.
stay there, because they never know when that's
Send their office like donuts or lunch or flowers or
Monthly dinner, or
whatever.
Take them out, if your designer gives you a $50,000 job, it's $100.
Yep. Create a yearly program. You guys all know that we've got the yearly touch-up program. It doesn't have to be modeled exactly like we do it. You could you could charge for it, whatever you wanted to do, but have a way that you get to go. I know some of the roofing guys will do a yearly inspection on their roofs. Like, it's just another way for you to have an opportunity to send them an email, to remind them who you are, how they can contact you, and bonus is if we get to go back in the house. Like, honestly, I wish we had more customers calling us. We're actually, so right now our yearly program is that you have to call us and we have to schedule it January and February. We are talking amongst our PMs right now on changing that to not being a season specific. And the reason is because this year we had more touch-ups than we've ever done, which is a good thing, but it really inundated our office over a 2-month period. And so if we actually take that restriction away and just say, in a 12-month period, we will come back once, you just have to call us, and we, as a company, we track that, then we won't get so many requests all at once, and we can spread them out, and I can actually manage it a little bit better. And we can constantly be saying and sending out a reminder to people, and so it's not just happening once a year. So that's one thing you can do.